What starts to happen is the most insane thing I've ever seen personally. What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, Austin Davis. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about how I almost got sued. All right, so if you guys have been following my channel for any amount of time, you guys would know that back in mid to early November, I came across a situation where we were washing this commercial building, and unfortunately, there was a huge electrical explosion, the likes of which I've never seen before, and it was one of the scariest situations I've personally have the unfortunate displeasure of involving myself in. So let's get right into this exact story. I talked about this on my Pressure Washing Business Owners Facebook group, which is a free Facebook group you guys can be a part of. And I talked a little bit about it, and I wanted to make this video on YouTube a lot earlier. It seems as though that I almost had myself a legal dispute and a legal battle. I wanted to go ahead and just wait until all this was resolved. And it's been about 120 to 150 days since the event. And as far as I know, nothing's gonna happen of it, so I can go ahead and share this story with you guys. So let's get right into it. All right, so like I said, back in early to mid-November, we're over here, got the call to soft wash a big building. This was a storage unit facility, one of these big buildings that's a bunch of self-storage inside. So you walk through the doors and people have their self-storage units inside. They wanted us to wash the limestone that surrounds the bottom half of this building. I'm gonna relay videos, any kind of videos I have for that day. I was taking videos while I was there because I was gonna make a really cool YouTube short for you guys, but and I actually didn't end up posting it. But what you guys see right here is just kind of what I was cleaning. And like I said, we're going around and soft washing the bottom ends of this building. Now, here's the key here. Before we started washing, the point of contact told me before we even started washing, hey Austin, before you start washing, make sure you tape up any of the outlets and any of these combo digital lock boxes that surround the building, like the ones where you type in the combo box and it lets you into the main building. That way you can access your storage. That way you can get in there after hours or whatnot. They wanted me to tape up those boxes because he said in person to me, he said, hey, you know, some of these electrical outlets and these electrical boxes have gaps in between the electrical outlet and the siding, okay, and with the digital combo boxes. And I said, hey, look, you know, I'm not gonna tell you his name, but I said, hey, look, this is already a standard procedure. We go around and we tape all electrical outlets and we tape any exposed little gadgets, electronics, any like cameras. We go ahead and tape and bag all that so you won't have to worry about that, okay? Just remember that little point right there, okay? But like I said, I already told him, hey, this is already something we do as a standard procedure. You don't need to worry about it. Great. So we're washing around the building, okay? At some point, you know, in all commercial buildings, guys, we've washed over probably 15 residential house washes, 1,500 residential house washes in my 4 years, probably close to 2,000, and hundreds of commercial type buildings. Maybe not one to this big of size, but certainly some big ones. And we're over there washing the building, and we get done with a section, and around this section is their electrical power bank, right? It's the big old electrical power box. There's a couple of them. It powers the whole building. Guys, I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm not an electrician, so I'm not sure the exact name for this area. But in any house or electrical building, if you walk around it, you're gonna find all their electrical breakers and whatnot, the boxes. So in this section of the building was all their boxes. Now, around the boxes was all this black mold, right? You know, that's algae that we need to treat, and we were soft washing. Now, I don't go around and bag, or it's almost, I don't even know how you would, or cover all that electrical box, right? Those are outdoor electrical boxes that are meant to be in the weather. They're meant to withstand rain, okay? We're not going around and power washing, right? So we're not putting any high pressure in these boxes, right? So just stick with me here for a second. So what we do in our soft wash process is we start from the top to bottom. Some people start from the bottom to top. I'm not here to talk to you guys about that. But we're over here starting from the top to bottom, and we are soft washing the whole building, okay? Everything's all good. We're soft washing. I soft washed around the electrical. I didn't even spray the electrical boxes. I went completely around the electrical. So let's say there's a wall right here. The electrical is right here. I am dodging the electrical and basically spraying around here in this way, not getting close to the electrical boxes areas. I will never just spray chemical solutions all over electrical, guys. I'm not an idiot, okay? But certainly I sprayed above it, okay? I sprayed right above it, and what it does is obviously, you know, the water trickles down. And so I had this trickling effect where it came down basically on top of the boxes and around the boxes, but I never sprayed directly into the boxes, right? Everything's all good. You know, everything's getting cleaned up perfectly. I work my way back around the side here. So it's like a big L-shaped building, okay? The boxes are right here. I work my way this way, spray around the boxes. I come around, I'm turning the corner. As soon as I'm turning the corner, what starts to happen is the most insane thing I've ever seen personally. And there's an explosion happening between these electrical boxes. I'm gonna overlay a video of what it looked like right here. Basically, the electrical starts flashing, okay? The huge flashbangs, like think of a flashbang in like Call of Duty or something, where it's like boom, 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 and it sounded like a grenade, right? And so all of a sudden, I'm working my way around the corner, and all of a sudden, I see in my peripherals this big flash, and I turn the corner, I'm looking, and all of a sudden, this electrical box is doing this, and like smoke, electricity bolts flying everywhere, fire, it gets insane. And there's a gas station right next door with a bunch of taco trucks and a bunch of people out there enjoying their lunch, and it was a huge spectacle, guys. They're running over, everyone's taking their video, because this whole situation lasted like 30 seconds. I'm talking 30 seconds of the biggest smoke and flashbangs you've ever seen. And like, insane, guys. Fire, black smoke that's just going way over the top of the building. And my first instinct was to call 911. 911, hey, there's a big explosion. You know, I'm a power washing company. The electrical is having issues. You know, get over here right now, right? My point of contact that was there, luckily, he was right there around the corner. He was not too far behind me when all this started happening. He runs inside and shuts off the main power. Because what we didn't want is a situation where basically we started a big building fire. And the only way to, I guess, to avoid that was he told me was that he had to shut off the main power, which thank God for that. So this whole situation probably lasted, as far as the exploding, lasted about 30 to 45 seconds, maybe a minute long. Felt like 5 minutes, guys. I was sweating. I was freaking the F out, right? And then here comes 50 to 60 people that are watching this huge spectacle. And here you go, my truck and trailer with all my company information just sitting right there, right in front of their video camera as this whole thing is going on. So I'm not sure if that's good marketing or whatnot, but I certainly didn't look good there. So the fire department comes, you know, they control the situation. You know, after a minute, everything kind of died down. The whole electrical box was completely done for. We're all sitting there, the fire department's there, all the people that are watching, they kind of break off and go their separate ways. And I'm there with my point of contact, the manager and the fire department, and we're talking about everything. And the last thing I said was, you know, I'm not sure how that happened, guys. We were soft washing. You know, this is not supposed to happen. We've done hundreds of, thousands of residential homes and over 100 commercial buildings, and they don't blow up. You know, there's thousands of buildings around the country that are getting washed at this very second, and they're not blowing up. So I'm not sure how it happened here, but you know, hopefully we can all figure it out. And so my point of contact said, hey, look, Austin, you know, we'll kick this can down the road, we'll figure it out later, but let's just stay in touch. It's okay, great. So we left. 2 weeks go by, and I start getting text messages from my point of contact, and let's go ahead and share the conversation I had with him. Okay, so here we go. We have on December the 28th, good afternoon, sir. According to the electrician, the damage was done by the water getting into the box. Duh, of course water got into the box. At some point, we need to discuss how to resolve this issue. We are already at over $20,000 worth of damage. All right, guys, so here's my kind of perspective on this whole situation, okay? My whole thing from the start was I'm not taking the blame for this. The fact that there is what probably most likely happened is as the water was trickling down, there must have been some kind of gap or broken seal behind these electrical boxes. And basically chemical must have got in between the box and the siding and worked its way down. These were old boxes, guys, and worked its way down into the box, created some kind of puddle. There could have been some kind of exposed wire. And as we were washing, guys, because it took 20 minutes from the time from where we left that area to when it first started happening. So it's not like we were washing it and then it exploded right there, because that would almost be like it is a direct result of the washing, right? It was 20 minutes until that happened. So what must have happened is as we were washing and we left the area, more water trickled down the siding, got in between the gaps, and then created a big puddle inside the box. And as the puddle got bigger and bigger and bigger, it came across an exposed wire, and that's when the explosion happened. Thank God I wasn't standing right in front of there, or thank God it didn't happen as I was washing it, because I could have been dead right now. And like I said in the beginning of this video, he had already told me before that there was plenty of gaps in between electrical and the outlets and the gate code boxes, and he told me to watch out for that, okay? Which I did. I went ahead and covered those. But there's nothing really you could do around these big power banks. There's no way to really cover it. And even if you do attempt to cover it, it's not gonna be perfect, okay? And like I said, it had to have happened by the trickle-down effect. It didn't happen as we were washing. It happened as the water comes down. There must have been a gap in there because all this stuff, he knew that they had issues. They knew that they didn't spend the money to frickin' seal up these outlets, seal up the gate code boxes, and there's just all these holes and imperfections in the siding, which I worked with. He wanted me to wash the mold around all this stuff, including the electrical, and I did, okay? So let's get right into my conversation with my point of contact. So my response was, hey there, the wash performed was not a pressure wash. It's what's called a soft wash, which is by all means no different than a building experiencing a moderate to heavy rain condition. I have a video of me soft washing the building. Being that those boxes are supposed to be exterior purpose and explicitly rated to withstand things like rain and water conditions, what is your opinion on how the soft wash, aka rain-like condition, caused this issue, okay? Because like I said, guys, I'm not pressure washing that whole exterior. At no point in time am I just sitting there with a pressure washer and gunning the whole electrical boxes. It was a top to bottom soft wash in which I started from the top and worked my way down, and I went around the boxes, and there's cameras there to prove it, and I sat there and recorded the whole thing for the most part. And it happened 20 minutes after I left that area. It's one thing to say if it happened as I was doing it, because it could be a direct result of me, my actions getting into the actual electrical boxes, but it happened 20 minutes later, so that means it trickled down, it formed a puddle in between the cracks, and if it wasn't my company that did it, it would have been another company that did it, or it could have been the next heavy rainstorm that could have caused something like that, okay? So let's get into what he said. I'm going off the feedback from the electrician and the fire department. Of course, the fire department is gonna say, yeah, the whole reason why this happened is because water got in there. Well, duh. Okay, the question is, how did the water get in it? I think it's safe to say that happened right as you were washing the wall. So it's an easy conclusion to come to. Of course, he doesn't want to look at his cameras, because if he looked at his cameras, he could tell that it's been 20 minutes since the washing at that area around the electrical boxes happened versus where I was in that point in time. So I was washing the wall, 20 minutes goes by, I'm over here working on this other section around the whole other end of the corner of the building, and that's when it happened. But of course, he doesn't want to look at the cameras. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I know it wasn't intentional and accidents happen. I just wanted to let you know where we were with expenses associated with it, okay? My response: totally understand your position. I guess the point I'm attempting to make is that those boxes are by all means manufactured to withstand water conditions. These boxes do not simply fail and explode from a soft wash. The last 100+ commercial buildings that we have washed exactly like yours are a testament to that exact fact. Not to mention the untold number of residential homes and apartments dwellings we have washed with similar exterior power boxes, and this never happens. So what is the missing variable here? Also, I think it's important to clarify that it didn't happen right as I was washing the wall and around that power box. If it did happen, I would have been severely injured or killed. It happened about 15 minutes after I left that area. I was standing on the other side of the building when I heard the explosion. That's my confusion. I hope you understand, okay? So trying to reinstate the fact that, hey, I wasn't even around that area when it happened. So it couldn't have been from me directly washing inside of it. It came from top to bottom, and because you have an exposed area in your electrical, I don't know when the last time you had a fire inspection was, or an electrical inspection, but you have tons of issues around your building, and you even told me in the beginning of the whole job that you did. So let's get into what he said. I assume the missing variable is the chemicals that were mixed inside the water. I assume you have insurance for situations like this, okay? And here's my response. So every building we wash gets the same treatment, same soap is used. I believe the missing variable is that the box wasn't properly sealed, as were many of the outlets on the exterior of the building, which is why you told me to make sure they were taped sealed, which I did. And if it wasn't me, it could have been any other company or the next heavy rainstorm that would have caused it. I'm of the belief, along with some of the electricians I've spoken to about this, because I did consult a couple of electricians about the scenario and they told me the same thing, is that there is and was some sort of gap or crack, opening or hole on the backside of that box. And as the water was coming down, it must have gotten through the holes and the water must have started pooling. As water was dripping, it made the pool bigger and bigger, and at some point it came in contact with an exposed wire, which it shouldn't have. These boxes aren't supposed to collect water. His response: I understand your perspective and I hope you understand mine, but that's why we have insurance companies to look at the situation and make a determination. If not, we'll just be going back and forth. Here's my response. I understand. We'll need the fire department record of the situation along with maintenance records for the building electrical that says that this stuff gets looked at frequently and is properly sealed, okay? Which we will need that because we need to rule that out. And of course I knew he wouldn't be able to provide that information. From the electricians I've spoken to, these inspections should happen every 1 to 2 years for commercial, which that's true. That way we can rule out a faulty box and properly lay blame. What I keep circling back in my head is that the fact that at this moment in time, thousands of buildings are being washed and cleaned around the country as we speak, and the electrical isn't blowing up. And somehow it happened here. How is that possible? This isn't supposed to happen unless someone literally and deliberately takes a power washer and starts going to town on that power box, which we know that didn't happen and the cameras can verify that. If these things couldn't take a soft wash, then we would be blowing up 2 to 4 of these a week. Unfortunately, this box had an area of weakness, a weakness point that should be properly inspected and taken care of, much like those loose outlets on the building that you told me about. I called my agent. She's going to want these records along with the fire department records of what happened. I'm talking about my insurance agent. And we can go down that route and loop everyone in and let insurances talk to each other. I'm just telling you there isn't anything to go after, unfortunately. Very unfortunate that it happened. Luckily, no one was hurt or killed, but the bottom line is electrical boxes shouldn't blow up from a soft wash that mirrors a typical rainstorm. You guys have the right to file a claim. I'm just telling you where myself and my insurance company stands, okay? And he responded, if you provide me with your insurance company, I will relay that information and all communications can go through the 2 insurance people. There is nothing I can provide personally, okay? I did not respond to that message, and that was the last time I heard from him back in December. My thought process was, look, I'm not gonna get my insurance involved because if you do go ahead and get your insurance involved, that's basically almost like admitting guilt. Just go ahead and let the insurance company file a claim. That is not something I wanna be guilty for. That's not something that I believe I caused or that it was inherently my fault on. Of course, it happened because I was there. Doesn't mean it was my fault. And I said, hey, my thought process was, hey, if this guy wants to go after me, he's gonna have to send me a demand letter and then we'll get my insurance involved. He needs to talk to his people. And I think what happened here is because there's been about about 3 to 4 months that have gone by. He and his people have read my conversation on text message. They have comprehended this whole thing exactly how I was able to lay it out over text. And I think they are spinning their wheels and they probably came to the conclusion and said, hey, you know what? If we do send this dude a demand letter and we try to go down that route, most likely we won't win because A, they're not gonna be able to provide any kind of electrical inspection records or anything that says that, you know, these things get checked. They know that they told me that the electrical outlets were loose and not covered properly. That's why they wanted me to tape it. And they know that this is not something that just happens all the time, okay? They know that their building had issues. They know it would have been any other company that would probably, that could have caused it, or the next heavy rainstorm for the love of God, right? And so that's where we're at. And to this day, I still have not gotten a demand letter. I haven't gotten served. I haven't gotten a call from an attorney. I'm completely clear of this issue and I'm pretty grateful for that. So what I learned from this whole experience, guys, is if you guys are doing commercial, really be wary of your surroundings, check some stuff, go to the electrical, check for gaps. If you see some stuff, bring it to your point of contact. I definitely learned I need to check these electrical areas a bit more carefully, especially on older buildings. Like I said, guys, I've done hundreds of these commercial buildings. It's never been an issue, mostly because these things usually get checked and these are newer buildings. And like I said, I don't deliberately put any soft wash detergent or any kind of water around the electrical. I typically dodge it. I would never intentionally do that. But you know, this was a situation where it trickled from all the way at the top, worked its way down to the bottom. As soon as it got into the electrical, we had that issue. And so I believe this is just a one-off thing. I don't anticipate it happening again, especially because when I do come across these older buildings, I'm gonna be a little bit more wary of that. And I'm always gonna talk to the point of contact first. say, hey, you know, Mr. or Mrs. point of contact or manager, you know, I walked over to your electrical. I've seen some issues here. You know, I'm probably not even gonna wash this side of the building just to avoid any possible issues. So, you know, that's what I learned from here. Like I said, I haven't gotten any demand letter from the company. I know it's been about 4 months, not saying that they wouldn't be able to provide something to me at a later date. Maybe it just hasn't come across yet, but as far as I know, or as far as I could believe here, I'm free and clear in this very moment of time. So I hope you guys got some good entertainment from this video. If you guys like this video, do comment down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers this year. And without further ado, guys, peace out.